Hello guys, it's time to cast the controller on over, and today I'll be playing Wild Season with you. Now, Wild Season is a Kickstarter game that was greenlit on Steam recently. It's supposed to be very Harvest Moon inspired, but I think it's intended to be a little bit edgier. I have played through the intro before, but I was using the keyboard on my computer and it was an incredibly confusing and complicated process. So if you do have or get this game, I definitely recommend looking into a wired Xbox controller. Unfortunately, plug and play and a regular Xbox 360 controller won't work. You need a wired Xbox 360 controller and plug that into your computer. It works. It should work much better, but I haven't played with it yet because I figured I'd show you guys the intro. Now, this is a game that's released in episodes, and this first episode should be, I want to say it's spring to fall, but again, I didn't finish it, so I don't know how far it goes. Alright, so apparently we are heading to Bedford Valley. Totally missed the V there somehow. I will say I do like the art so far. And I'm not sure how much you guys can hear it, but the music is a little bit nice. Not too totally overwhelming, but it's still got a good beat to it that makes you cheerful without, getting too pumped up, because this is supposed to be a relaxing kind of game if it's anything like the Harvest Moons I've played before. And I've only played a few Harvest Moons, but I've still played more than I should have. Alright, press any key to continue. Oh, this is feeling very Pokemon-ish. Like I said, I've played the intro, but it was a while ago, and I don't remember it very well because it was very late when I did that. As far as I know, this was released on Steam in December, so I guess it wasn't that long ago, but it still feels like it. Alright, question mark, question mark, question mark. Hello, welcome to Wild Season. Before you get started with your quaint farming adventure, I'm gonna get you set up. Alright, there should be a space there. Setup is not. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, that is an intense face. That is much seriousness. Nope, don't know a lick about ya. Alrighty then, guess we gotta go through the whole thing. I'm gonna ask you just a few questions and then I'll get you on your way, okay? Let's see, oh, name? Now, I have been naming my characters Kimmy in, oh come on, I said down. What the hey is up with this? There we go. Use the directional pad instead. I have been naming my characters Kimmy since the original Pokemon Sapphire, I think. Now, originally I did spell it. That is already incorrect. That's backspace, I hope. Yep. Now, originally I did spell it the normal way, but in middle school I met someone who spelled their name like this, and I really like how that looks. So, what do you guys think? Should I go with Kimmy or should I go with Cass to match the... I'm gonna go with Cass. I'm gonna break tradition and I'm gonna name my character Cass to match the, name of the channel, and I guess technically my name as well. Up. Already wrong. C-A-S-S Cass. Right. Enter last name. Are we gonna go with controller? Let's go with controller. Cass controller. Guess it's a good thing I went with Cass then, because Kimmy, as I used it, I don't know how to spell controller. That's a controller. There we go. Kimmy, as I've used to name every character in anything ever. Is that supposed to have two L's? I feel like that's supposed to have two L's. There we go. Kimmy doesn't have a last name. I've never had to really make one up, so I guess it makes sense. Oh, Cass controller. Nice. No, wait. Very feminine, right? Very masculine, right? I think, if I remember correctly, this is how you decide your gender. Unfortunately, that changes your name. There is no agender option. Would be nice, but very feminine. Yeah, very pretty. Pretty girl, pretty name. I do like that they give you the option to go, I'm not a girl, I just have a feminine name. But it'll probably take you back to having to say you have a masculine name. I'm not sure. I know, right? So when's your birthday? Now, my birthday is in the fall, and it's the 21st of a fall month. Don't need to give you guys too much information to potentially stalk me with. Most of you watching this at this point probably actually know my birthday. But I always go with fall 21st. In autumn, we're posh and fancy here. Autumn, not fall. But I always go with fall 21st, just that the character's birthday is basically mine, and it's easy to remember when it is. Oh, so autumn 21st? Is that right? Great. Let me just get that written down here. Okay. This is just... Why would it need my blood type? Is that going to turn up later? As far as I know, I've never actually had to get it figured out, because I'm extremely lucky in that I've never really had to go to the hospital. As far as I know, I should be a type O. I don't like the way she said, how interesting. Yep. Alrighty, I think that's it. Yep, sure is. So how's it look? Player ID. Oh, I pushed a button. CassTheController, farm name. Well, I better hope that's correct since I can barely see it through there. Yep, great. Oh, the little icon in the corner is a spinning leaf. That's pretty neat. I don't think I picked up on that the first time I played this. Yep, looks like everything's in order. Again, welcome to Wild Season. Oh, and Cass, be careful. Yeah, this is definitely a little bit edgier than most Harvest Moons. Look at that extremely concerned face with the incredibly useless glasses. Glasses are not very helpful when they're that far down your nose. Or at least I suppose nearsighted glasses aren't. I wear glasses. But I guess if you're farsighted and only use them for reading, that might work. Oh. Sudden animation change. Down on your luck, you've been something for weeks. While looking, you find an ad for a farm that seems too good to be true. Though skeptical, you spend your life savings to start your new life in this town. You head south, excited for the journey ahead. Neat car. Does it look a little bit like a Prius to anybody else? Maybe I'm just superimposing the memory of my brother's car over it. Well, now it looks like a bug. Maybe it's supposed to look like both? Ha! Swirly eyes. Oh, that was a glove. Hey guys, let's try to keep an eye out for any gloves on any of the character art. See if we can figure out who just found us. Oh, this screen again. Bedford Valley. Oh, press any key to continue. I pressed a key. I'm pressing a lot of... Oh, there we go. Alright. You've woken up in some sort of inn. Exclamation point. You hear some sort of commotion downstairs. What if she returns and says everything checks out? That won't happen. Wow, that guy is even shorter than I am. And I'm not even 5 foot tall, guys. Maybe you should head downstairs. Maybe I should first push all the buttons and see what I can figure out. Okay, back doesn't do anything. Oh. Well, I figured out how to switch tools. Oh, sprinting. That is good to know. Oh, I opened a menu. Neat, neat. Oh. Okay, so the triggers move from between these things. They aren't highlighted when I move over, so that's inventory, profile, animal profile, notebook, and world map. So that's the trigger buttons. Whereas the LB and RB move between these things, which is key items and seed bag. Good to know. And then directional pad. Now do I... Alright, so B is back, as always. Anything here? Can I just get back in bed? I would love to sleep through the whole adventure. No? Snooping. If there's anything I've learned from growing up on Final Fantasy games, it is explore everywhere. Explore everywhere and never be in too much of a rush to further the plot. What do you guys think of the art style, by the way? I'm liking the whole chibi thing compared to the actual portrait in the corner. And I will admit I am partial to blue eyes because I have blue eyes myself. And that pink hair is pretty neat, even if the dipped edges remind me a little bit of a fox. Alright, so I guess we're heading downstairs now. I guess he doesn't look that short outside of his portrait. Oh, we completed a quest. Welcome to Bedford Valley. Quiet, you might wake her up. Sorry, dear. Yeah, I'm doing voices now. That's new. Dear. That's not the same voice. Good morning, old sport. I'm surprised to see you awake. Are you sure you should be walking around already? You took quite the tumble last night. Oh, you can just barely see his hand behind his text box. He doesn't have a glove. Edward found your car up against a tree, dear. Who's Edward? Does Edward have a glove? I really should remember more about this, guys. I'm sorry that I don't. The roads around here are dangerous regardless, but with a storm as well, why, it's a miracle you're with us at all. Your name is CassTheController, right, dear? Exclamation point. Oh, I didn't mean to startle you. When the doctor came to check up on you, ugh. I'm reading too fast and it's making me jumble the words. This is what happens when I try to do voices. Oh, I didn't mean to startle you. When the doctor came to check up on you, he needed your name for his records. We had to get your ID out of your wallet. Surely you don't mind, what with the circumstances? I suppose not. Anyone else mistrust her smile? Perhaps we should introduce ourselves, dear. Oh yes, of course. I am Rosalind. Is that a good way to say that? Is it Rosalind or Rosalind? I'm gonna go with Rosalind. I am Rosalind Underhill, and this is my husband, the mayor. Mayor. Your name is Mayor. Are you Edward? Or are you the mayor? I'm glad to see you're alright. Dude, do you know who you are, old sport? I think so. It said Bedford Valley on the loading screen that I dreamed up. Well, let's see if you're thinking right, shall we? This is Bedford Valley, a quiet town nestled to the southeast of Mount Monroe, and home to a nice but humble port. We're next to mountains and the ocean? I guess that's more common than I might think. The Underhills have served as mayor here for many generations, so rest assured you are in good hands. We'll have you up and going in no time. Ah yes, we have great hospitality, but you know city folk. A few days out in the country and they want to get home as quickly as they can. Oh, hello person. Do you have... Oh, you don't have gloves and you're wearing a suit. That was hard to tell from the chibi. Excuse me, Mrs. Underhill, Mr. Mayor. Oh, Miss Controller. Hi there, glad to see you're, feeling better. Mr. Mayor, I figured out what you needed. Oh, yes, of course. Old sport, this young lady right here is Alice Brandt. She works for a law firm in the city, but has come back to town recently to help out with a few things. It seems I might have to step out. There's no need, dear. Why don't you instead go with Cass and get the poor thing a glass of water? She must be absolutely parched. I'm sure I can handle whatever Miss Brant needs from you. Ah yes, of course, dear. Come with me, Cass. We should get something in that stomach of yours. Hopefully something more than just water, though, right? Happy face? That's not as easy to say as exclamation point. As I was saying, your car is in bad need of repair. Is that just a bottle of ketchup sitting next to a glass of tea? What did I put in my tea? We took it to a reputable? I think that's how you say that. I have what I call a reader's accent. I can tell you what words mean, and I can usually tell you how to spell them. But very rarely can I pronounce them correctly, so feel free to let me know in the comments if I say something outlandishly wrong. We took it to a reputable man one town over, and in his honest opinion he feels the work needed is too much to justify the price. Now, part of this is the town's fault for the faulty road, and as such... Humph. Darling, could you come over here for just one moment? Oh yes, dear, of course. Well, someone's under her thumb. I wonder who the real mayor is. I do not like that they're exclamationing and looking over at me. And now I'm surrounded. Cass, I'm afraid we must ask you a somewhat difficult question. This isn't gonna be a do the carpets match the drapes question, is it? I mean, her hair is mint. Pink cannot be that outlandish. When we were going through your belongings... To find your ID, of course. Oh yes, of course, to find your ID. Deed obtained. Well, we came upon something rather particular. You see, old sport. Why is he calling me old sport? I really thought that was the nickname for boys? This is the deed for an old farm here in Bedford Valley, and for some reason you're listed as the property's owner. Exclamation point. Mrs. Controller, how did you happen upon this document? When I bought the farm yesterday. The realtor gave it to me when I signed the paperwork. Well, it proves that I live here now, right? I am gonna go with the realtor. Sounds more legit. A realtor? Why would a realtor... She's saying she bought the farm, dear. Bought the farm? You bought the farm? There's been some sort of mistake. Forgive my husband. He is simply confused by the series of events that brought you here. You see, dear, the piece of property you purchased, it wasn't for sale. Dun dun dun. I did remember this part. If only because it was rather aggravating to read. Because I went from the warm and welcoming, well, we have this farm we're not using, why don't you just go ahead and live there, Harvest Moon style thing, to, you spent your money on this farm and it's not yours. I was rather aggravated when I first read it. I felt like so offended. That was probably the first hint that I don't think this game is going to be as nurturing as Harvest Moon games are. Also, what is up with her part? Does hair do that? Why wouldn't you just split your hair straight down the middle? Exclamation point! It is true that the property has not been lived on for quite some time. Did you guys see that with the text box? It went all like glitchy for a second. However, the previous owner explicitly stated that the farm be given to the district after a year's absence. It did it again. Has it been doing that the whole time and I didn't see it? That person passed away last fall, meaning the property has only been vacated for a little under 2 seasons now. It's doing it, yep. It's probably something that's been happening the whole time and I only just noticed it. Which means that no one currently alive could have possibly listed this property. Do you understand what I'm saying? That you think I obtained the deed illegally? That a ghost listed the farm. Wait, what do you mean has not been lived on? That would not be the thing to focus on right now. It doesn't matter who's been living on it until you know for sure you're allowed to. And that might be taking a little bit too lightly the situation. So I'm going to go with that you think I obtained the deed illegally. That would be the most logical conclusion, but... Whoa. Guys, what just happened? Ignore the behind-the-scenes view. Click. The document is in no way forged, and according to the state, you did indeed exchange money for it. You are, in fact, the legal owner of this property. Though I'm not sure exactly how. Oh, now they're all lined up against me and looking at each other with shock. Now, Cass, it's not that we're upset you bought the farm holds for it, it's just disconcerting. Anyone else feel kind of snubbed by Roslyn? Yes, disconcerting. That's exactly the word I was looking for. Disconcerting. You see, the farm, it's well... Darling, perhaps showing Cass her new property will be much more informative than simply describing it to her. Let's go take a look at it then. Though you might not like what you see. Well, that's one thing it does share with Harvest Moon. You arrive at the farm and it is decrepit. Did you see that sparkly flower? Cannot wait to figure that out. Exclamation point! This is the spur of the moment investment you left the city and could have died in a car crash for. It's an absolute wreck! As you can see, the property hasn't been lived on for quite some time. The previous owner passed a little over 2 seasons ago, as Miss Brand mentioned, but they acquired the property through inheritance, so it hasn't been lived on for maybe 10 years? More like 15, dear. She always has to be right, is the impression I'm getting. 15? We took Linda's kindergartner. Wow, you're old enough to have a kindergartner? Kindergarten pictures the last year that the fields were harvested, remember? Ah, yes, of course, dear. 15. They're just so blank-faced. You can't even really see his eyes behind his glasses, can you? Why don't you take a look around? Get a feel for the place, as they say. Surely something must be salvageable, dear. I couldn't even imagine if it turned out you invested in a money pit of all things. Oh, do you see that one eyebrow raised? You're scheming something, chickie. Don't mind us. Take your time. Alright. Now how do I go to the... Maybe that's the notebook. Oh. I guess I have to use the mouse to scroll these down. That's definitely something to complain about, the fact that I can't use the controller for everything. You woke up in a strange inn. Okay, so let's see. See how bad the state of your house, barn, coop, and stable is. Well, let's start with this. No one seems to have even bothered to clean in here. It has a lingering smell you're not sure you can ever get out. But other than that, it should host a fair number of chickens. Chickens don't care about lingering smells, right? You're sure you'll get used to it. Let's see. That's a shipping bin, I think. Sure looks like one. House? That's dusty. Exclamation point. There's still a surprising amount of furniture in here, even a TV. The electricity is still on here? That is a shocker. Looks like there's even a wardrobe in here. Really? I would have... Oh, I thought that was like the top view of a stove. But it is not. There's even clothes inside? You can change the clothes on your portrait here. That's neat. I might check that out another time. This place is smaller than your apartment in the city, which is saying something. And there's enough dust in here to make yourself a dust bunny farm. Now that actually looks quite large in space to me. I mean, if that's a queen-sized bed, because it certainly looks bigger than single. Then again, the proportions are definitely off comparing it to the counter. And there's enough dust in here to make yourself a dust bunny farm. And yet, you feel oddly at home here, like you've been here many times before. Ooh, what kind of drama are you leading up to? It's almost nice. Or will be once you get the dust wiped up and get new sheets. It'll be nice someday. So that's halfway there. Boop. I do like that there seems to be a bit of red inside each thing. Can't wait to see what those are. This barn obviously hasn't been used in years. But with a little love and care, it could house a small herd for sure. You've never spruced up a barn before, but it can't be that hard, right? Look everywhere. Right? What is this? Will it tell me yet? Nope. What's left? Oh, well. Oh, another building. Sign? Read all the signs. Nope, not gonna let me read the sign yet. The amount of cobwebs in here is almost impressive. Other than that, though, the stable is in surprisingly good shape. Maybe the first thing you should do is get yourself a horse. Oh, look at those sparkle eyes. Hopefully reality crashes in soon. Whoa, did it just move? Though you should probably learn to ride one first. And be financially stable. You should probably get a horse later. She's a nice mix of realistic and optimist. Rosalind was right. The phrase money pit is putting it nicely. I said Rosalind instead of Rosalind. And yet, it's yours. The thought makes you feel warm. Old sport, what did you think? It needs work, but it's great. And I can't wait to get started. I can't wait to get started. Because this sounds kind of discouraged. This is a little bit too blindly optimistic. This is nice mix. I can't wait to get started. Really? I didn't push a button there. It glitched away. That's wonderful. We're glad to hear it, aren't we, dear? No, you definitely aren't. I mean, yes, of course, absolutely delighted. Your belongings are back at the inn, so perhaps we should... Oh, we can certainly ask Richard to bring those over. Dear, why don't you go show everyone around town their new neighbor? They'll be just delighted to meet her. Of course, dear. I suppose I'll give you a tour around the town then. It's a charming place. I'm sure she'll love it. I don't like Rosalind, you guys. Oh, that's a nice music change. That's vaguely Pokemon-ish. Then again, I suppose it's just the sort of tune that you hear from most games of this kind. Let's see what I could show you, now that you live here. Might as well start with the most important part of Bedford, This is the town square where we host many of our festivals, because it would not be a Harvest Moon-based game without festivals. You can see a little bit of the things I have open behind the game when the chat text dialog box moves. So this is a little bit glitchier than I remember it being. So you guys are gonna have to let me know if you want to see more of this. Over this way are the Tunstuck, and the flower is that a name? And the flower shop my niece runs. What's the Tunstuck, you ask? I guess I did technically ask. It's the racetrack where we hold a number of races. Horse races occur this season, and in the fall, Well, dog races happen during summer and winter. The racetrack is only open on race days, though, which would make sense. If you decide to keep going that way, old sport, you'll find our port. We serve a small trading port for our district, but usually sailors do not stay for more than a night. Frank's Logistics is also located there. He and his son Roy manage the imports and exports out of the town, you see. Always should have sent him to your farm tomorrow to make arrangements for your crop shipments. You're optimistic. To the south is a number of residences, and beyond that is the Holtz Estates. That sounds hoity-toity. They own a farm as well, but they specialize in crops. All the businesses in town use their produce, so it's usually stored in a special freezer here in town. And well, that pretty much describes the main town. We may not have all the conveniences you're used to, but we certainly are well equipped. Come along, old sport, I'll introduce you to some of your new neighbors. I'm sure they'll be happy to have you here. Exclamation point. I'd like to visit the general store and the inn. I know you've already been to the latter, but I think it'd be nice for you to thank the owner himself for allowing you to stay, don't you? After that, I'll take you to the Holtz farm. It'll be good for you to see how an actual farm operates, You saying my farm ain't actual? Let's get going to the general store then. Now this episode is already getting kind of long, so I'm just gonna see if I can't figure out how to save. Don't mind me just using the mouse. It's not in any of these places. Is there a different menu? Alrighty then, guys. I'm just gonna stand here in the exact center of town square. And I think that's a good end for this episode. I am going to do at least one more episode to try to get through the entire intro. And then I may play more of the actual meat of the game. It depends on exactly how buggy it actually is. Now, some things to note about this game is it is being released in episodes on Steam. The first episode is already available. That's what I'm playing right now. And you can buy that on Steam for $17. And then the episodes, as they release them, should be a few dollars each, I believe I read. It definitely won't be $17 for each episode. Now, since I am a Kickstarter backer, I will be getting all of the episodes from what I've already backed. So if you guys want to see more, as they release it, I can try to play the whole game for you. Now, this is made by a company called Quickfire Games. Just to put that out there, and it was put on a Kickstarter 2 or 3 years ago, I believe, and I've been excited to play it ever since, and I'm glad that I managed to put it off long enough to play it with you guys. So I think that is a good place to hold off for now. It sure seems like that's the end of my turn, so I'm just going to let me just cast the controller on back to you, and I hope you guys pass along again soon. Bye-bye, guys!